Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. I'm Martin Warwick. We are here in California, in San Francisco, at IDF, the Intel Developers Forum, and I'm talking with Paul Stevens, Marketing Director, Networks and Communications Group at Advantech. Paul, two Brits together.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Here in San Francisco.
In San Francisco, yes. Looking at virtualization, which is what this is mainly about, there's a lot of emphasis on the fixed network, but of course it applies equally to the mobile network as well, because virtualization, let's face it, is virtualization, whatever form it's in. I know that at the show this week and the event, you made two major announcements. A lot of the emphasis here is on NFV, and quite a lot more of it, peripheral to it, is looking at the edge of the network. So let's talk about NFV to begin with. What was the announcement you made here pertaining to that?
Well, our announcement on Monday morning was a partnership with 6Wind, who has actually been playing a key role in NFV space and accelerating network function virtualization for quite a number of years, working closely with Intel on their developers data plane kit, DPDK. And so that announcement was that 6Wind has opened up a portal on Advantech's remote evaluation services labs over in Taipei, where VNF vendors, operators, or system integrators can test out virtual network functions on an accelerated environment from 6Wind that sits on top of Advantech hardware. The hardware there comes from more of a traditional background of Advantech, which has been advanced TCA, which has been widely used within the telecommunications industry. But I think the important thing is it spans out to a much broader set of hardware platforms that play key roles at various places within the network. So, you know, a lot of discussions have been about NFV in a data center environment or a telecom data center environment, where Advantech is focusing their efforts, is bringing that out to the edge and into the access network itself, where the platforms are all different, and there's a need for operators to be able to test out virtual network functions in those different locations in different environments.
And Paul, you mentioned a second announcement. What was it?
Well, the second announcement was a new platform, hardware platform, which we call Packetarium XLC for carriers. In fact, it's a carrier-grade blade server that can be used in applications outside of the data center. So more to the edge of the network, to aggregation layers in the network, all the way down to the radio access network portion, where we see a lot of things happening today as well around mobile edge computing. Mobile edge computing is something that an XC group is working on quite extensively now. Intel and other network builders are very heavily involved as well in the work there. And Advantech is looking at how you scale out some of those applications within the network where you need more compute power, more processing power. It's important from a mobile edge computing perspective that the applications are very low latency, so they're near real-time response to users on their mobile phones within the cell. And you can't bring all of that information back up to the data center, process it in the data center, and then come back to the mobile user again within that cell. So we're putting more intelligence close to the remote radio head at aggregation points within the network, like telco rooms, which are in quite harsher environments. So you do need carrier grade platforms. And that's where we see ourselves bringing something new to the game. A gap exists there. Carrier grade servers are well known to function within the central office and so on. But as we come down to more of this denser compute needed in these harsh areas, we think that the Packetarium XLC platform allows the scale out that no other platform today can achieve.
I've spoken to several people here who've been talking roughly in the same area, Paul, and you know there seems to be a consensus that there's not much point in just trying to solve a problem by chucking more and more and more base stations at it, more cell sites. You need to be rather subtle and take a different approach and move that intelligence out to the edge to allow for the congestion and just the sheer weight of traffic on the network to be relieved in some ways. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that level of compute down at that portion of the network that doesn't have to have all that backhaul traffic going back into the cloud. And some of the proof of concepts that have been going on recently have actually proved that there is a significant saving in traffic going back to the cloud.
Now, Advantech, you're a hardware company. We live in challenging and interesting times, as the Chinese would put it, and a lot of companies are being turned upside down by virtualization and network transformation. What are the challenges for you as a hardware manufacturer as things move towards software more and more?
Well, with the network function virtualization, one might wonder why would a hardware manufacturer exist anymore? Everything is going to run on a certain server in a hyperscale data center. But there are gaps within the infrastructure today where platforms are needed that actually can cope with carrier-grade environments. So when the rubber hits the road, those network functions, that software's got to run somewhere. And so we see that running on these platforms that are reasonably specialized, moving out to the edge. So as you go down into the mobile network, you need scale-out compute power. If you're talking about virtual CPE, you have other types of devices. But again, you need a device there that's specially designed for either the home gateway or for the small to medium business gateway and so on. So that's where we really play a role. What's turned things upside down a little bit is our customers in the past have always been the telecom equipment manufacturers. So the brand Advantech within our networks and communications group has been very much hidden behind the other brands. And as we move forward with more of a software-based environment, we see that those customers start becoming partners and a part of the ecosystem as we all work together under the auspices of groups like network builders to put together a common pool of functions that are running on a hardware platform. So I think the Advantech brand then will start to come a little bit more to the forefront, and we'll change our overall business plan as we move forward, how we approach customers and how we approach the market.
Well, it's interesting to take things from a slightly different perspective, Paul, and look at it from the mobile edge, which is obviously going to become more and more important as the strain on the networks continues regardless. And so, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much for inviting me.